We're back with episode number 2. Come for you guys. So if you missed our first amazing Facebook Live video where we got to talk about this little, actually extravagantly complex and diverse tool called the Enneagram, please make sure you can go and check that first Facebook Live, because we really just gave a good introduction. If you've never heard about this tool, have no idea what it is or how it functions or anything like that, we just had fun getting to talk about the effect it's had on our lives personally and just the power behind the Enneagram. Not sounding too spooky. I just scared you guys off already. But this time we really wanted to kind of talk about more the structure of what the Enneagram is, just the symbol, why the arrows, why a circle, why is there 9, why isn't there 10 types, why is there, why isn't just the 3 types or something?
Are there only 9 types?
Are there only 9?
How is that possible?
Yeah, right? So we just want to kind of bring some clarity to what it is and stuff. And so
yeah, if you're jumping on, make sure you say hi. It's hard for us to see because the camera's far away, but say hi. We like to know who's watching. So
yeah,
and let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the reason why when we were trying to talk about what it is. Hey Trish, how are you? When we were talking about what we wanted to do for this next episode, it's really tempting to want to just dive right in and find your number, right? Find okay, well, tell me about each type. But as we were talking about it, we both thought it was really important to understand the tool as it is, as a whole, so that you really understand how to use it. So, for example, if I have a hammer in my hand and I'm trying to work with a screw, put a screw in the wall, and I'm hammering the screw, it's going to probably work, but it'll probably make a mess, and it is definitely not as effective as using the proper tool or using the tool in a proper manner. And so we wanted to kind of just give you an overview about that part of it first. And then, as long as you guys are still interested in wanting to know more, we can go into the different levels, because it's a very complex tool. Once you get to it and you understand it, it is simple to implement. I mean, it's work.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of diversity to it. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about the structure of it, because each number, understanding it helps you find your number, right?
Yeah.
So like we were saying before, how is there only 9 types? There are way more than 9 types of human beings, and that is true. But there's 9 basic starting points. And one way you can look at it is kind of like having your primary colors, right? We have our primary colors, but if we even look at the blue, there are so many different shades of blue, but it's all blue. And there's the Enneagram helps, because of the complexity of it, as we will talk about as more episodes go on, it brings in that other dimension or that other shade of color. And there's lots of different ways that the Enneagram helps reveal that. Do you want to talk about that piece?
Okay, yeah. So there's So like Christi's saying, there's so many layers and things to affect, because why we what makes this tool so effective, I think, is the diversity of it, because we are unique people. We're unique expressions of God. We have unique calling that only we can fulfill for a reason. We are designed with purpose and intent. Mm-hmm. And the Enneagram's understanding of our personality and the complexities, it welcomes that diversity. It doesn't pigeonhole it like a lot of other maybe personality tests or something where you're just trying to fit a structure or something. So that's why the Enneagram is so great in giving you space to be, and it's really just there to help bring language and light to stuff that might be in the dark in your mind or you're asleep to because of patterns and habits and stuff. So the complexity of it is hard in explaining it all because there's so many layers. Yep. There's you know, your instinctual subtypes, there's your wings, there's your triads, there's your tri-types, there's your childhood wound, there's, you know, there's like, and then the list goes on, your stances, how you are in conflict and stress and health and all of this. So there's lots of complexities and diversities within this, but again, that's only, I think, a testament to the strength of this tool. But what we want to do is kind of
bite-sized
pieces because the more you learn about it and the more clarity there is, the more it like brings another level of freedom. It's like
Absolutely.
It's like going up a mountain, and you just, the higher you get, the bigger the horizon is, the bigger the perspective is, and you just kind of get to have, we're going to widen the lens a bit, hopefully, by giving you some steps. So these are the basic steps.
So today we're talking about the structure and how each type is connected. So when you look at the tool of the Enneagram, hey Dad, hey Andrea, see you guys popping on.
Guys ready? I made this really awesome. I hope it's the right way.
Isn't that like amazing? She even did it backwards, because when we did our test,
it was reversed.
It was reversed. So we're looking at this backwards right now.
But it's good. Thank you to Nova for letting me use her little art easel. But yes, so this is the drawing of the Enneagram, and this is where you can see we added the numbers, so you kind of see there is intentionality with the placement of each number.
Yes.
Why, what each number is, and why they're next to each other, and why the lines are connecting to each other. It is all intentional. There's no, it's all intentional. There's nothing's just there just because it looks cool. It's there because it's what it is. Or it looks scary. Whatever you guys think. But,
that's true. So one way to look at using the tool of the Enneagram is like an internal GPS, right? Use it like an internal GPS, and when you understand all of the numbers, it makes it easier to find your own number, right? And the internal GPS, like if you are able to locate yourself, so once you kind of understand the tool as a whole and you're able to find where you are, that really helps it's like, this is where I am on the map, right?
Yeah.
And then as you start to understand your number, because essentially we actually operate in all of them. Like, then sometimes that's why it's hard for people to find their number, is they're like, well, I relate to this, well, I relate to that. And yeah, because we all have all of it in us, but we have one number that's really our primary number. That's how when you land on that, you're like, this is my location on the map. Okay. And as you use the tool, it actually gives you direction on how to get to your healthiest self. And using as we said in the first one, I think we talked about rumble strips. Some of the unhealthy behaviors become rumble strips. So if you veer off course, you're like, oh, right. Oh, that's okay. Let's not do that. Or stay on it, like you said last time. Okay. So we've got our numbers, right? And they're all in a circle. And I actually like how they use numbers on purpose too. It's not like one's better than the other. It's just, they're just numbers. A lot of people use like handles. They'll call handles or different words to label each number. But I've found, and I don't know about you, but I've found as I've actually understood the tool better, I don't even use the handles really anymore. I use the number. Yeah. Because like there's so much complexity. Like using for example, a 2 is known as a helper. I feel like there's so much more than just a helper. Or, you know.
Right. Or the 1 being the perfectionist can be very stringent and just kind of like almost negative kind of understanding, I think.
Or it might be perceived as negative.
Yeah, it might be perceived as negative. I mean, there are other terms too, like one can be known as the reformer, which is like, I think much more like it gives a bit more of a scope to what the 1 is typically. But yeah, you're right. Like once you have this understanding of each number, you kind of, the titles that go with them kind of go away. Yeah. But just to let you know what they generally are understood to be, because they do get thrown out a lot. Yeah. Is so 9 at the top is the peacemaker, and then 1 is perfectionist, 2 is helper, 3 is achiever, 4 is individual, 5 is the investigator or thinker, 6 is the loyalist, 7 is the enthusiast, 8 is the challenger, and yeah, I already started with 9. 9's on top for a reason too. There's something about that placement because 9 has this ability to know, like, usually 9s have great empathy and understanding of all types. So
yeah, they're able to see.
That's why 1's not on top.
They're able to see through all the numbers perspective. Like that's just one of their superpowers.
So if you are having a hard time knowing your type, you might just be a 9.
That's true. 9s have a hard time. Well, so does 6.
Yeah. So do, well, they all have kind of like a hard time.
It can be hard for a lot of people. Okay. So that's, an overview of all the numbers. And then there's stress paths. So the lines in the middle have to do with stress paths and growth paths. Or sometimes it's called integration and disintegration. Yep. And those are the rumble strips too, especially the disintegration one. So let's say 6, for example, as they're becoming healthier and becoming aware of maybe their motives and the different ways that they're trying to get their needs met and protect themselves from the fears, right? Because that's the core fears and the core needs really are the true indication of what your true number is. So if they're under stress, they'll actually start to take on a lot of the 9 tendencies.
No, other way around.
I'm sorry, you're right. 6 goes into the 3 tendencies.
Because when I'm stressed, I look like a 9. Hi. I don't want to know.
Yeah, let's just veg out.
What do you want? Fine, I'll do what you want.
Yeah, sorry. I'm confused because my arrow,
because it's backwards.
It's hard to read for me.
Anyway, 6 goes into a 3, which the negative aspects of the 3.
Right, but here's the thing. They don't turn into a 3. Right. If that's you like, your core number is your core number, and really, like I said, it has to do with your core fears, your core desires, your core motives, and it's just that you might start to borrow from that other number's defense mechanisms. Yeah. The way that they protect themselves, or
the more negative attributes of it in the stress path.
Right, and then the reverse is, their growth path is they start to take on, for example, this will be easier for me to do because it's my number.
Just do your own.
I was just trying, be variety or something. Yeah. So I'm a 7, I'm an enthusiast. And in stress, I borrow a lot from the 1. Man, that the inner critic for me can get pretty loud when I'm under stress. But it's focused inward towards me. And then in health, I borrow a lot from the 5, from the investigator. So, because 7s, a lot of times we're just like, action, like, let's just go. Like, let's do this. like I'm just going to run with it. Yeah. But when I borrow from the 5, I can slow myself way, way, way down and be intentional and think a lot slower. And it's work for me. That is work for me, because I prefer to just go for it. So how about you? What have you found in the growth and the stress path?
So I relate to the 3, which is like the achiever, and under stress, I kind of go to the negative attributes of like a typical 9 peacemaker is because you're appeasing everybody else's points of views or opinions, you tend to hide and shove down your own and don't stand up for yourself necessarily or even know what you want. And I do this so bad. Like if my emotion or my feeling doesn't feel efficient, especially under conflict, I will like shove down my emotion and just be like, okay, what's efficient for this moment? I'll just do what they want, like in a very like, and then I forget what I want, and I can sometimes forget what I really need, and I don't express that, and then it can become, when you shove down, it's not good because then things tend to explode, which is kind of dangerous. But then in health, kind of borrowing from the 6, the loyalist, like the healthy side of the 6, and I've seen that, like, there's something in me that really gets inspired by like loyalty and being steady and focused and I'm gonna believe the best in you, so don't worry. Like, even if you say something that seemed otherwise or did something quick that didn't seem right or I agree with necessarily or confused me, like, it's okay. Like, I know I'll trust in your character, the loyalty of who I am to you, more so than just a quick blip in the radar or something, you know. So that's kind of what it looks like for me a little bit. But
yeah, and something I wanted to point out that I heard you say. So as a 3, going and borrowing from the 9, you're still the issue is still efficiency.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Because a 3
exactly.
they need to be efficient.
Yeah.
And they want things to run efficiently. So that's why they push their feelings to the side, is because it's not, I'll deal with that later.
Right.
It's not intentional. It's just like, well, this isn't efficient right now. I'll deal with it later. And the reason why the 9, how the 9 comes in, that forgetfulness too, and melding with what the group needs.
Yeah, yeah.
But the core reason is efficiency.
Yeah.
It's still the core reason.
That's great.
Whereas like a 9, they would be forgetful for it, but it's because they want peace. It's not about the efficiency. They want all voices heard. They want their inner world to be peaceful. Okay, so the core motive is different, even though it may look the same. And that's why it's so interesting and not being able to type other people, because the same behavior, we said this before in the other video, but we'll say it again, the same behavior can have very different motives and reasons behind it. And so, that's just something I just heard that I wanted to just point out. So
no, definitely.
Yeah. What are we? Yeah. Okay, wings. So wings. Let's talk about wings. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to do that, or you want me to?
You talk about it, because I like how you talk about like borrowing and the fluidity of it. Is good.
Yeah, because you're still your number.
It's totally the same kind of
same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
So this is what's super interesting about, if you've ever heard the word wings.
Yeah. Okay? So if you see someone post like, "Oh, I'm a 6 with a W7," that means their wing, which is the number next to it. So if someone says they're 6 with a wing 3, they didn't understand wings too well. Because it's just the numbers that are directly to the right or to the left of the number. Yeah. And again, the placement of each number is intentional. And so the wings borrow from, the numbers next to it. So that's what practically the wings mean when someone says their dominant number and with a wing of whatever's next to them. Yeah.
And again, remember when we started off, we were saying there's so much complexity, and that's why, I've got friends in my life who are 7s who will look different than me.
Yeah.
Same core motives and fears, but I typically move a lot in my 6 wing right now. And I will say this, I'll back up and say this. There are certain times in life where you can use one more than the other. So you can actually, there is fluidity between your wings. So your number, your primary number never changes. That's the way you absorb the world from a very young age, is your number. But your wings, you can use, and as I started understanding this, I can look back and see, oh gosh, in this part of my life, I used a lot of my 8 wing. And as you start to understand the numbers, you'll see how that works for yourself. But you can kind of look at it as like salt and pepper, what our teacher says.
Yeah.
She's like, your primary number is the steak, we'll call it. That's your primary
or an
number.
Avocado for your vegans out there.
We have vegans.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so your avocado, I like avocado too. So
avocado or steak, whatever.
And then you use your wings as salt and pepper to flavor your primary meal, we'll call it. So for example, as a 7, it's really interesting because 7s are usually go-getters and act first, think later. But that 6 wing, what happens when the 6 comes in is it kind of conflicts with that. So it will bring in that well, hang on, let's think about this, or what's some of the ways that this could go wrong. Although that doesn't always happen in my brain.
You might calculate it, but then it's I think it's more, right.
Yeah, so there's different ways, but there's still, what's cool too is they're both access points. Yeah. So what I'm learning as I'm growing and I'm doing my own work with this is wow, I have my primary number, but I have access to what the 8 can bring me and the ways that I can grow through utilizing that, and the 6.
Yeah.
So that's the wings.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add about that?
Not really. I mean, I think for me, I actually put the element of wings, I put on like kind of the shelf in my mind. I say that like, because I didn't really understand it. I was like, what's the point of having a wing if you're just like a number? Like, aren't you just like your number? Like, why are we being all the numbers? And so I didn't understand it. But understanding the fact that it's like, you can borrow and you can borrow from either wing is great. It's just like, if someone really relates to, and the level of wingness can vary. Like someone, like I tend to think that I'm quite strong in my type 3-ness, and I sometimes borrow from like my wings, but it's not often. But there are some people that live in their wings quite a bit.
Yeah.
So the fact that it can vary is good too, because that helped me be like, oh, okay, like then I think maybe I'm more of a 4 wing, because you know, at the end of the day, if I do something and it feels inauthentic, then that really bothers me. Like, I want to do everything full-heartedly, and if ever I feel like I'm trying too hard, sometimes that drives me nuts. And I'm just like, I want to be my true self, but I had to work too hard, and that wasn't as fun. So there's a little bit of like that looks like for like borrowing a wing, and it's only once in a while or something too.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah, and sometimes your wing can be so strong that it makes it hard to actually pinpoint what your number is. And I will say this too, if it takes a while to find your number, like that actually is a part of the process.
Yes,
in and of itself.
And it's a good
like allowing it to be that of like, well, I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that. Yeah. And then kind of what Beth says, try it on for a little while.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a great.
Like try it on, maybe dig a little bit into it and see if that number does feel right for you. And maybe it is and maybe it's not. But allowing it to be that process is a part of the journey. Yeah. And once you do find, like once you locate yourself on the map, boy, is it just like so helpful. Yeah. It's it hurts so good, like you said. Yeah,
because it really is like, it's just like peeling back layers of your heart that you didn't intentionally cover up, but just, you know, life and instances and growing up and conflicts and you growing and thriving or meeting challenges. Like, there's just some stuff that gets on you and layers you, and it's a part of your story, so it's no shame in it. Right. It's just a matter of if who you really are, your true identity, your full identity as a child of God. If there's ever a part of you that feels like, I just am doing this. Why am I still doing this? And it's not who I really am. The Enneagram language like gives you that, again, that like light switch to turn on, so that you can navigate through what once was dark, and know how to get freedom, so that you're fully aware of your choices and making the choice that you want to make, not just what you have been like told to make or made to make.
Or even like you're doing it without even realizing, because like it's almost like sometimes we can look at the behavior and we're trying to change this behavior, right? But it's more, and that's kind of like trying to change an apple into an orange. Like that's the fruit. Like that's already happened. Like we can't change that, but like being able to get into the motives underneath and really get into like the root cause issues of like, oh, that's why. That's why I'm trying. Like I'm trying to get this core need met. Yeah. And I have all these ways that I was not even aware that I was doing. Yeah. But I'm really trying to either protect myself, this core fear. Yeah. Or get my core need met. And
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it also gives you like grace for the interactions you have with others that might trigger something in you. Oh, okay. You know, because when you realize, oh, it's not them, it's me. Like it should be an empowering thing to be like, oh, whoa, like I thought this person was just trying to like, guilt me and feeling bad that I left them out. And so I'm trying to like over explain, like, no, we were just like trying to figure something out and like get it done. I was just getting it done. You know, I didn't mean to offend you or hurt you. Like, I just wanted to get it done. You know, it's like, oh wait, I need to slow down and realize like the point is the people, and I need to make sure I'm bringing people along with me. And I need to apologize to that person for like hurting them and like letting them know, oh, my intention was not to leave you out, and I'm so sorry. Next time, I hope I'm going to be really intentional to include you, because I know that means a lot to you. But just know, like, I was just going to the goal, you know, like, so you can explain what you're thinking better too, so that they can hopefully have some empathy and understanding. And there's just that, like, yeah, any kind of conflict it just brings clarity, because there's language now for
the more people that start to do that own work with themselves, the more clear the conversations can be, and the more clear conversations can be healthy, and actually get growth. Like that, we were talking about community the other day, and I would say that is a huge part of being able to have good community on just that respect level of like moving through life as human beings together. You know, we've got our separate lives or whatever, but having your own inner work and this language for yourself and having that understanding, and then the more people that start to have that understanding of themselves, and then there's the communication together. Boy, I feel like that's why this is so powerful, and the health that can come out of that and really create good community. Yes,
because it is amazing how many people and how often we even do this. Like, we assume people think like us. And you just don't understand, like, how can they not see this the same as me? Like, don't they realize how ridiculous this is? Don't they realize how hard that was for me? Don't they realize all the things I do? Don't they realize, like, what they just said to me was really, like not cool or whatever, you know? Like, we think people think like us, but they don't. Like, when you can grab that the gravity of that reality, that people don't think like you, even if they are if they relate to the same type, like, there's still different stories that we all have in different contexts of each like type we might be. So, like, but people don't think like you.
And you know, I would say what I think is so cool is we've probably heard that, right? Like, we could probably know that on a surface level. Like, people don't think like that, think like me, but the language, or the Enneagram does give language to help you understand how you think, and then, oh, that's how the other numbers think. Like, it's almost like it takes it from this ambiguous phrase of, people don't think like me, to really having an understanding of how other people do think. Totally. And being able to, you know, I think we did talk about this in the first video too, about wearing the other person's glasses.
Totally.
Where you can put it on for a little while, and as you start to understand the tool, and you do understand all the numbers, because I think sometimes it's tempting to just dive into your number and leave it at that. But really, if you can use the wholeness of the tool, it is to be able to have that empathy and put on the glasses of other numbers to see how they see. And just have that, like, it's not just like, you don't think like me. It's like, okay, this is how you think. And
the example of, I think this was from our teachings too, the airplane analogy about, like, if the oxygen mask comes down, you know, you got to put your oxygen mask on first before you assist your helpless child that's next to you. Just kidding. That always, like, rattles my brain. Like, I don't know if I'd listen to that. But because they don't want you to pass out, because then you're helpless. So you got to, like, make sure that you're good in order to help and assist others. And so that's kind of like, that exchange is what this does. It wakes you up and gives you language for all the stuff that you got, and all the stuff that everybody else has got and is working with, you know.
Yeah, it really does start with your own work. Like, your own understanding and growth, and like, you can't, that's the one thing that we did talk about too, about not using it as a sword, and using people's numbers against them. Like, well, you're doing that because you're a 3. Like, or whatever. Like, that's not using it properly. That's taking the hammer and bopping someone on the head. Like, no, that's not what it's for. It's really meant and designed to create that empathy.
Definitely.
So, yeah. Oh, did we want to just go over the needs, or do we want to?
What time is it? How long has it been?
What are we?
Because we could talk for a long time.
It's 8 o'clock. It's been a half hour.
Okay, it's been a half hour.
Maybe we should save this.
We gotta save this next part for another video, because this could take easily a half hour on its own.
Yeah,
oh
you're
my
right.
Goodness.
So.
I almost had a feeling we weren't gonna get to it, so that's okay. But yeah, so this is what the sign is. Hopefully this got embedded in your memories and brains as to what it is, and we really like we were saying, there's a lot of complexities to this. So, but we want to know what's the biggest questions on your minds, that as we're going over things, like, would it be helpful for us to talk more about each type? Because we really haven't hit that yet. And would it be helpful to talk maybe more about the layers of things that affect your type, each type, like the instincts or the tri-types, and a little bit more of the functionality of the symbol, or even just like how to grow. That's a whole thing, man.
It could be a year.
Yeah, because that's the point of this. And so there's tools of like, what does that actually look like? What does implementing this practically look like? And so we've got that. We've got answers. We've got answers because we've been digging for years on this, and we love talking about it, and we're practicing it, and practicing it is what it's all about.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So yeah.
No, I think that's great. I think, ask your questions. Otherwise, we'll just keep coming up with our own stuff.
Yeah.
I guess. So.
What am I talking about this time? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you guys have questions, post them, and we'll do our best to incorporate that into different videos. And if not, then we'll just keep going.
We'll just keep going. Like a mini Enneagram teaching course for you guys.
Yes.
So yeah, thanks for tuning in, you guys, or catching this later. Again, comment, let us know your thoughts, what you liked, any questions, because we just love this. This is just so fun.
It really is.
We love it. So yeah, you guys have a wonderful weekend that's coming up. May you just enjoy sunshine and life and relationships, and just getting to be with the ones you love the most. Hopefully you guys can do that. So yeah, peace and grace to you guys, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.